to a Browns Victory Monday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever this video finds you. Welcome to Raw Dogs Radio. Drinking my Kool-Aid. All right, got the big picture there. Got my Kool-Aid Mafia hoodie, my Browns cap. Ooh, yeah, I have to wash this thing once a week because I normally parade it around from like Sunday till Wednesday, depending. Uh, so at any rate, the DTR era has begun. Let's bring the mic closer. Now, before I get into reading the story, let's talk about off the cuff how I feel about what I saw. And maybe you guys, maybe you've seen it too. Now, the first outing, of course, that left all of us kind of pissy. Let's just be honest. I mean, what do you expect when you don't get any of the reps, any of the starting reps, and then you're told at 10 o'clock with the game starting at 1 that you're starting against one of the best defenses in the NFL in a division rivalry game, aka the Ravens. Now, the game plan that Kevin Stefanski called that game should have been the game plan that he called yesterday. Flat out, with screens, short passes, quarterback runs, some draws, all right, some quick slants, things like that. You should have done that, especially against the Ravens defense, but he didn't. We lost 28-3. I felt that DTR wasn't ready, that maybe he belonged on the third on the depth chart. Of course, we all know you never should have let Dobbs go. And then when he was benched by the Cardinals, you automatically should have been on the phone, waking up the GM at 11 o'clock at night. Hey, what you'll give you back your 5th round pick for Dobbs. Because you left our quarterback room, I'm talking to you, Barry, left our quarterback room highly inexperienced. With a quarterback in Deshaun Watson, and not saying that he wasn't performing well, but this is the NFL. Quarterbacks get hurt. They drop like flies, as we see. So you should have had a comparable backup to him. Somebody foolishly said that they got rid of Dobbs because he would have been challenging Deshaun Watson for the starting position. And like, that's not further from the truth at all. Dobbs was and pretty much still is an unproven commodity at quarterback, but he's shown flashes of at least being a tier 2 quarterback. I mean, last night against the Broncos, that was just a turnover anomaly. But I'm not worried about the Broncos. Please, they don't have the offensive line. Russell Wilson is lucky to be even winning these games. They're winning their games by luck. All right, let's just be honest. They're winning by luck and sheer willpower, but they're not us. Their defense isn't comparable. Their quarterback play is worse. Their offensive line is worse. Our offense is out there looking like an expansion team. Seriously, our offense looks like an expansion team's roster, while our defense is pretty much the most stacked defense in the league, with a very capable defensive coordinator. And of course, we've got all-world Myles Garrett. But DTR yesterday, he played within the confines of the offense. He did what was asked of him. He suffered some drops, not all of that, as David Njoku, he apologized, as you can see. He said Browns tight end David Njoku owns bad outing versus stealings. What I displayed was unacceptable, but some of that can be laid at the feet of DTR, fortunately, because he has to learn not to rocket the ball within 10 yards. He has to learn to put some touch on the ball. If you notice with his interception and some of the drops, the balls went careening off of our players' hands. Even the second interception that was dropped, where he didn't lead Amari Cooper. I was like, who was the receiver? It was Amari Cooper. He didn't lead Amari Cooper to the sideline. He kind of made him freeze his feet. Even the ball careened off of the defensive back's hands because he's throwing rocket balls out there. He's long. He's got that long, strong arm. He's built. He's got that Colin Kaepernick build, and that was one of the problems with Kaepernick was that he lacked touch on his passes. That's correctable. All right, coaching, a good quarterback coach can get him to, hey, ease up on trying to throw the ball, trying to get there quickly with a lot of power. Ease up on the power, bro. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Throw your players a catchable ball. All right. I know this is the pros and they should catch everything that hits their hands, but as a quarterback, it's your job to help the receiver. Now, he read the defense as best as he could. It wasn't perfect. Not saying he's great, not saying he's bound for the Hall of Fame or the Pro Bowl or anything like that. Let's not be foolish. But with a controlled game plan, short passes, runs inside to kill the clock, try to get some yards, he was very, very serviceable. He was definitely 10 times better than PJ Walker. And I mean, I'm sorry, PJ, you play with a lot of heart, but as I've said about you, the second your back foot has to leave the ground, you're inaccurate as hell. Now, do I think that we can win out the rest of the season based on what we saw yesterday? Yes. Based on the schedule, from what I saw, it looks like the only tough game that we have coming up is against the Texans. Let's take a look here. All right, so let's take a look at the schedule here. Next up, we've got the Broncos, who are winning games by the skin of their teeth. So I'm not worried about that. And then we've got the Rams, who we're just going to annihilate, not worried about that. Then we have the Jaguars at home, which is a winnable game. All right, Trevor Lawrence is no slouch, but their offense and defense does not compare to ours. The Bears, get the hell out of here. The Texans, we're going to be at the Texans. CJ Stroud is playing lights out. He's definitely going to win Rookie of the Year. No doubt about that. So this might be the game that get us. Now, the Jaguars is possibly a trap game, but this Texans game is definitely going to be a street brawl. Now, this Jets game, whether Aaron Rodgers is coming back or not, the way the Jets played last night, where it looks like their defense gave up, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that. And Aaron Rodgers trying to rush back despite the team not being in playoff contention and the way the Jets offensive line is, I am not concerned. I am not concerned. And then, of course, the Bengals will be starting their backup quarterback just like we are for the rest of the year because there's no Joe Burrow. I get the feeling this game right here against the Bengals, and I remember saying early in the year when I looked at the schedule that this game would determine either a playoff spot or the division title. And it's a very strong possibility that that might hold true just for us, but not for the Bengals. Their season is over. Let's just be honest. So there's a strong possibility we could win out or at least finish 2, 4, 6, 7, maybe 6-1, at the worst 5-2, getting caught up in a trap game between either the Jaguars or possibly the Jets, depending. But as far as this Texans game, that's a pick 'em. That's a pick 'em. But you've got you got 5 weeks to figure out what's going to happen. A lot can happen in the NFL. Injuries, coaching decisions. You never know. You never know. But thankfully, Kevin Stefanski, we've seen him grow up as a coach this year. He stopped trying to make Elijah Moore a thing. All right. He's done away with a lot of the gimmick and gadget plays. Sure, it worked yesterday to slow down that Steelers pass rush, which has helped. I mean, they only recorded, TJ Watt recorded what? One sack, and thought that he was doing something. And oh my God, Steelers, Twitter, YouTube, Steelers social media. Oh my God, these people, it's the end of the world. They even have their running back ready to quit on the team. Now they're seriously questioning, is it Matt Canada or is it Kenny Pickett? They're more so leaning towards Kenny Pickett, but you can put some of the blame on Matt Canada because he's not calling an offense that's tailor-made for Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett is still out there looking like a rookie. He's looking unsure of himself. They've got him trying to make throws that he's just not capable of. You saw how wildly inaccurate he was. You can blame it on the wind, you can blame it on the defense, whatever. But I sorely put that on Kenny Pickett's inability to throw accurately. It looked like Mayfield trying to throw the OBJ. It looked that bad. But one of the things that really stood out to me in the second half was, especially in the fourth, was that they didn't take a shot downfield just to back up the Steelers defense. I was screaming it. The broadcasters wound up screaming it. Even people on social medias, particularly Brown's Twitter, they were screaming it. Hey, throw some deep balls. It doesn't, to me, it didn't matter whether you completed them or not. You do that to back up the defense so that way your short passing game can work. Like, you took away the middle screens from Njoku. You tried it once, and of course, Highsmith was all over it. But after that, it's like you didn't go back to it. You didn't shoot any deep routes. I understand you're trying to play mistake-free football, Kevin. We only had one penalty to which he just stood there shaking his head, because I'm pretty sure that he preached mistake-free football. Don't turn the ball over. No stupid penalties. Run the football. Rely on the short passing game. Let your defense and special teams do the heavy lifting, which they did, and we won. All right. The only real lapse that the defense had in judgment was Greg Newsome on the 74-yard run. Like, hey, at the start of the third, like, buddy, no standing around, no buying a ticket. I understand that back, he's a good back, but you've got to wrap those ankles up. If you're going to go for those ankles, grab those ankles. And whatever happened to offensive players getting called for face masks? Because when you're stiff arming somebody in the face mask, as far as I'm concerned, that's grabbing the face mask. That should be a penalty. That should be a penalty. Stiff arming in the face mask should be a penalty. It should be below the shoulders, either the shoulders or below. Up in the helmet, if you're going to do the helmet, sure, outside. But if you touch that face mask, that should automatically be an offensive penalty. If it's that way for the defense, it needs to be the same way for the offense. But whatever, we all just work here. But in the coming weeks, based on the schedule, particularly the Broncos, who don't have a pass rush, the Rams, let's just be honest, I forget the guy's name that plays defensive end. Oh, Donaldson. He's a shell of his former self. They should have traded him before the season began and got something out of him. I'm not worried about the Jaguars pass rush. The Bears, although they picked up Montez Sweat, not worried about him. Not worried about him. The Texans have a very good defense. But by the time you get to this Texas game, you should have opened up the offense by then. You got 4 games to open up that offense against cupcake defenses to give DTR more familiar with the offense and being able to play an NFL-style offense by the time we get to the Texans game. So these 13-10 games, I'm not worried about them anymore. That was a division rivalry game. It'll go away. It'll go away. But watching Kevin and DTR grow as players, as a player and a coach, has been fantastic, especially for Kevin Stefanski. Especially for Kevin Stefanski, because before he used to try to shove his playbook down his players' throats, particularly his quarterback. Prime example, the Saints game last year in the snow. The Saints beat us with their running game. How do you have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in the backfield? Also, who was Dearness Johnson. And those guys, they should have had at least 20 carries each. That should have been a run game. That should have been the ugliest snow game we've ever seen. Also, the shortest game in NFL history. But it looks like he's learned his lessons. All right. So I started off anxious yesterday morning. Now I'm quite confident that we can go on and continue what we have to do. So let's see what USA Today has to say about the game. As you can see, it says here, 4 downs. Dorian Thompson-Robinson leads Browns in tight win over Steelers. This is written by Tyler Greenwald, and he wrote this yesterday at 5:14 p.m. after the game. He says, another week, another close win for the Cleveland Browns. Wet our whistle here. This time, though, it was a defensive showdown with the Pittsburgh Steelers that came down to a last-second Dustin Hopkins field goal. We got the right D-Hop. I mean, sure, would it be great to have both of them? Yeah, but it's fine. It's fine. I mean, personally, I'd rather have Dustin Hopkins than DeAndre Hopkins because Cade York would have cost us games. Let's just be honest. The two sides were separated by just 10 total offensive yards with only one turnover in the game, a DTR interception. That, of course, came off of a deflection from a rocket ball in Steelers territory, which I hated. Other than that interception, though, the 5th-round rookie played well enough to keep the Browns alive throughout the contest. The Browns took over sole possession of second place in the AFC North with the victory and sit just one game behind the Baltimore Ravens for first place. Now, this is what kills me. Ben Roethlisberger actually had the nerve to say that this was our Super Bowl. And I'm like, bruh, this isn't even a signature win for us. It's great for the organization from a football standpoint because we took over second place and we beat the Steelers, a divisional foe, and we got our revenge as far as the Nick Chubb injury goes. But it was not a signature win. Beating the Niners was a signature win. Beating the Ravens was a signature win. Those were signature wins. The Niners came in undefeated. The Ravens had a 17-3 lead. 14 before you could even take 5 bites of your popcorn. Those were signature wins. You guys were just par for the course. The heck out of here, Roethlisberger. You don't even know what you're talking about. It's whatever, man. It's whatever. So here are the 4 downs from the huge Week 11 win. All right. The Browns didn't win because of DTR, but the team didn't lose because of him either. Actually, we did win because of him. That last drive, the kid shined. He shined brilliantly in that final drive. He proved he could pull it out. He completed 24 of 43 attempts for 165 passing yards. Should have been over 200 with more completions. No touchdowns. Should have been a touchdown. And Njoku dropped it in the end zone. And that was a touch pass. Believe it or not, he put some touch on the pass. And then Njoku just short-armed it. And that's really all Cleveland needs out of their rookie quarterback moving forward. Yeah, pretty much. With a top-flight defense and a solid rushing attack, the Browns will remain in games so long as they don't turn the ball over and limit big plays by opponents. That's what they really did in week 11 and will now have to do moving forward if DTR remains the starter as well as he should, unless he gets injured or has a mental collapse. Even with a dearth of injuries this year at critical positions, the Browns remain in the playoff hunt with a legit shot to win their division. That doesn't happen without good coaching from Stefanski. Bazinga. Yes, defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz should get a lot of the credit for the play of the defense, but Stefanski's leadership has held the team together. Yeah, let's be honest, you got to give him his credit. Him and Jim Schwartz together have held that team together, because last year our defense quit on us in a lot of games. And matter of fact, early on, there was, I think it was a game against the Colts, I believe. It was the Colts. No, it was a game against the Ravens. When the Ravens were up 17, when they took a 17-3 lead, in the midst of that, there was a drive where the Browns defense quit. You could literally see the life go out of them. Matter of fact, the Ravens were up 14-0. When they were up 14-0, you could see the quit in them. And then when the Ravens kicked the field goal, because they were just playing, they couldn't convert a third down, they kicked the field goal. And then, of course, Deshaun led the team down. We got the field goal. We were up 17-3. And then the defense pumped up and got a stop. And then Deshaun led them down and kicked them. We kicked another field goal. The touchdown to OBJ, that was a mental lapse. But after that, you saw the defense pick up. They started playing up to their capabilities. Now, I'm not taking anything away from the Ravens. I mean, they are a good team. But our defense, after that touchdown by OBJ, they really came to life. They really came to life. All right. And as you noticed in that game, the refs kept trying to give the Ravens a chance after chance after chance to take a 14-point lead, which they did, but the defense did not quit. They didn't quit. Deshaun Watson and the offense didn't quit. And of course, we won that game. But outside of that, I haven't seen the defense just lay down. I mean, this is the NFL. Everybody's a professional. Everybody gets paid. Everybody has the willpower to dominate their opponent. I mean, this isn't college. All right. Everybody's out there getting paid. Everybody out there is a professional. Okay. But it all really comes down to willpower. And as you can see this year, the Browns defense coupled with the offense and Stefanski growing as a head coach, putting his players in the right positions to win, thanks to execution, have hung on to win games. We really should only have one loss, and that's against the Ravens. That should be the only loss on our record. But whatever, we're here. Stefanski took risks in this game too. The challenge on Jerome Ford's goal line touchdown could have been costly if it went the other way, and it ended up being the difference in the game. Props to Stefanski, who normally would be a coach of the year candidate if the Browns were winning big. Now, personally, on that goal line situation, I understand he wanted to give Jerome Ford a touchdown. He wanted to give him his credit. But in a situation like that, you go ahead, you put Harris and Hunt in the backfield. When you got Harris and Hunt in the backfield, that should be an automatic run that you know you're not going to stop, because if you notice, when Harris, the offensive lineman playing fullback, when he hits that hole to block, there is no stuffing the running back. There's no stuffing the back. You're not going to lose yards unless somebody on the outside or in the interior misses a block. They move the freaking pile. The Eagles have the tush push. We have the tank. We can talk later. So I was surprised that Hunt was not in the backfield on that play, but on the fourth, I believe on 4th and goal, if they would have ruled it not being a touchdown, I believe they would have went ahead and put Hunt in the backfield and would have went for it. because even if you wouldn't have received it with the way the defense was playing and the way Myles Garrett was penetrating that line, it would have been all bad for the Steelers. The Browns didn't force a turnover for the first time since week 3, but stymied Kenny Pickett and the Steelers enough to hold them to just 10 points. Should have been 3, but whatever. The day could have been even bigger earlier when Browns defensive end Myles Garrett sacked Pickett near the Steelers' own end zone. It looked like a safety for Cleveland, but it wasn't called. That play led to the Browns taking over on offense at midfield, which eventually set up the 4 touchdown. Now, from what I understand, Kevin Stefanski did throw the challenge flag, but he threw it too late. He threw it a second too late because the people up in the booth, they're the ones who radio down to Kevin, say, hey, you need to challenge that. And because they were too slow on the draw, we missed those 2 points. But I mean, hey, we're the Cartier Kids 2.0, which I've dubbed, we are the elves. We are the magical elves. We are the elves, baby. Thank you, Jamar Chase, for blessing the season. Cleveland allowed 249 yards, the 6th time the Browns allowed fewer than 300 yards in a game. I believe Kenny Pickett had less than 100 yards passing if you put in the sacks. I think he had like 88 yards passing. Hopkins hit all 3 of his kicks this week, including the 34-yard field goal to seal the win for Cleveland. It's Hopkins' 2nd consecutive game winner after he secured the Browns' win over the Ravens in Week 10. Let's also not forget the kick that he made against the Niners. All right, he made the kick against the Niners that won us that game. He also made the kick. Let's see, one against the. Let's take a look. He helped us win the Browns game. He won the Ravens game. Let's see. He didn't win the Colts game, but he won the 49ers game. And yeah, that was it. So he helped us win 3 games this year. I am so not mad at that. Kicking woes plagued the Browns in the past, but now Cleveland has a reliable leg it can lean on in critical moments. He's now hit 25 of 28 kicks this year. And I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. All right, let's take a look at David Njoku, see what he had to say, because he is the heart and soul of the Browns offense right now with Chubb being out. As he goes, so does the offense if you guys haven't been paying attention. All right. He's put on a gritty performance this season despite his injuries, but who's complaining? So there have not been much better developmental stories among the Cleveland Browns and tight end David Njoku. Despite being plagued with drop issues early in his career, Njoku worked to become a reliable pass catcher and blocker. This has allowed for him to become one of the top tight ends in the NFL. His game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, however, was a regression and a return to his former self. And again, I attribute that to DTR's rocket balls. Sure, like I said, he should catch it. He's a pro. If he hit his hands, he should catch it. But rocket balls within 10 yards are not going to help your receivers. And as he stated, what I displayed was unacceptable. My teammates, receivers, running backs, everybody are trying to pick each other up, myself included, to try and find a way to get the job done. I'm about to go right home and catch these jugs right now. And I don't know if you guys know what that is, if you're not that deep of a football fan, but teams have this thing called a jugs machine, where you put the footballs in, push it forward, and the 2 spinning wheels, they rocket the ball. You can set it at any speed you want to. Now, I believe it was Marvin Harrison, if I'm not mistaken, when he was with the Colts, he used to stand there and catch the jugs machine. I think it was like maybe 3-4 feet away from him. and he'd have the balls rocketed to him, and he's standing there just catching balls, just catching balls. He would catch like 100 balls after practice, just catching balls, catching balls, catching balls, catching balls, catching balls. If you have a receiver that has the dropsies, you standing right in front of that jugs machine every day after practice, and you make him learn to catch. And do remember, David Njoku, a couple of years ago, he wanted to be traded. He wanted out of Cleveland. But we re-signed him to that big contract, and people bemoaned it, but it's starting to pay off. We know what he can do. Did he have a bad game yesterday? Yes. Can we overlook it? Yes. He was not the reason that we lost, because we didn't. And had we have lost, would we have pinned it on him? Probably. We probably would have pinned it on him. We would have pinned it on DTR. We would have pinned it on Kevin Stefanski. We would have pinned it on Andrew Berry. And I'm going to put this to bed right now. This talk of firing Stefanski, firing Berry, wanting the owner to sell the team, right? Saying Baker Mayfield should still be here. Stop. He's out there losing badly. Okay? Kid's gone. Let it go. Let it go. This is the NFL. No coach is the greatest coach ever out there. Look at Bill Belichick. All right? They want him gone out in New England. You understand? They want him gone. The man won, what, 8, 9 Super Bowls? 2 as a defensive coordinator with the Giants. They want him gone. No such thing as the perfect coach. Sure, did Barry put us in a bad position at the quarterback position as far as the backups? Yes, he did. No such thing as a perfect GM, a perfect coach, a perfect owner, a perfect player. Everybody learns and grows from the job. Luckily, we're coming out on top simply because of growth. I mean, they signed Joe Flacco to the practice squad just in case DTR gets hurt. So that way, at least you have a stable, I wouldn't necessarily call Flacco reliable, but at least you have a stable veteran presence in an emergency situation that's 10 times better than PJ Walker. This was certainly Njoku's worst game since he signed his contract extension with the Browns. Over the years, Njoku has worked hard to kick the drop issues that plagued him early in his career to the curb. Yeah, probably working that jugs machine. This is just a bump in the road for the starting tight end who has come into his own otherwise. All right, so this is Cameron Justice's Twitter. All right, let's see what he has to say here.
Even though what I displayed was unacceptable, my teammates, receivers and running backs were trying to, pick each other up, myself included, just find a way to get the job done. I'm about to go right home and catch these ducks right now. So, like I said, it was a good victory, but it's back to work.
And, this is the beauty of this Browns team this year, as opposed to last year where you had rumored to be Myles Garrett after a tough loss, screaming no effing leadership when they went into the locker room. I think it was the loss against the Ravens, where John Johnson was out there making business decisions, not diving to tackle players, pulling up on tackles. You notice he's not anywhere. We have players that hold themselves and each other accountable. We saw that last week with the push with Jerome Ford. Like, hey, the whole offense was out there pushing. Like Joe Batonio said, like, hey, like I didn't want to be the guy on the tape standing around watching everybody else, the other 9 players, 11 on offense. Ford's got the ball, surrounded by 9 other teammates pushing the pile. So he ran to push the pile. I mean, we saw Aditi making fun of, if you didn't see that, making fun of Elijah Moore, his little legs, trying to push the pile, looking like a child out there. I mean, these guys are playing for each other. This has the capabilities of being a very magical season for us. All right, a very magical season. It's just a matter of us being able to pull it out. Let's see who they gave credit to. They say 5 stars who shined for the Browns in the thrilling win over the Ravens. All right, let's see. Now sitting at 6-3. Actually, what are we? We're 7-3 now. Winning 4 of their last 5 games, the Cleveland Browns have proven they are a real force this season. This time, quarterback Deshaun Watson and the Browns fought back from an early deficit to beat the ball. Oh, okay. Sorry, this is. Whoops. Okay, this was last week's article. Sorry about that. But it's fine, because Newsom did get his revenge. Unfortunately, I didn't do the Ravens post game because I wasn't able to watch the whole game. And if I don't watch the whole games, then I'm not going to do any videos on them, because then I'm just giving half-assed information. But from what I did see, all right, before the streaming service started acting wonky, Newsom was flagged twice in the fourth quarter for holding penalties that helped the Ravens get that 14-point lead. But his pick 6 off the tip pass avenged all of that. That's what this dancing in the end zone was all about. All right. So I give him his credits. But outside of that, as far as DTR and our quarterback situation concerning Deshaun Watson, of course, DTR is supposed to be our future. Now, how long will it be before they decide to let Deshaun Watson go and eat the rest of his contract? He's got 3 more years left on it, depending on how he looks when he comes back next year, because he's gone for the year, of course. Depending on how he looks next year, he might finish it out. Will DTR have the patience to sit for another 2 years? Who knows? I mean, he appears to be a kid that has his head on, young man who appears to have his head on straight. You saw how emotional he was when he had the interception. He went to the sideline and Deshaun Watson said he was crying, but he told him, hey man, it's just part of the game. Like, it's nothing. Throw it away, move on. Let's move on. And it paid off for him. Deshaun Watson's mentorship has helped DTR tremendously, be it the quarterback room, but definitely in yesterday's game. As you saw, every time they showed DTR on the sideline, Watson was right there next to him. He was on the whiteboard. He was drawing up the plays. He was writing things out. He was mentoring DTR throughout that whole game. And of course, it helped out. You need to have a coach on the field. And who better than somebody that the young man looks up to than Deshaun Watson? Somebody that the team respects. I can see him being here for a long time. The thing about it is that when Watson's contract is up, they probably won't re-sign him. They might wind up trading him. I'm not even worried about as far as the contract price, because the salary cap keeps going up every year. We'll be fine. He's not the highest paid. They're saying that there was the worst trade in NFL history. I beg to differ. The Herschel Walker trade. Hello. All right. The Ricky Williams trade. Hello. All right. Those were some seriously bad trades. One team built a dynasty off of it. Another team Mike Ditka got fired and the Saints went to the toilet. This team being quarterback cursed as it is since we came back in 99, you had to do what you had to do to get yourself a Pro Bowl bona fide quarterback. And in the limited action that we've seen him play in, it was well worth the money. Injuries happen. This is a contact sport with grown men. Go out into the park and play with guys who drive beer trucks in contact football. You'll have guys getting dragged out by their ankles from sprained shoulders and knees and ankles. You're talking about a guy who played with a broken shoulder and a high ankle sprain, not to mention the tears, the rotator cuff tears. It's not like he's out there just crapping the bed because he's lost his mojo. No, injuries are part of the game. So I'm not worried about the contract. By the time it's all said and done, will we lose some players for the next couple of years? Yes. But Kevin Stefanski doesn't appear to be going anywhere. I doubt very highly if Jim Schwartz goes anywhere unless it's a head coaching job. I don't see him getting fired because he's not doing his job. I mean, it would have to take some egregious off the field action for that to even come about, for that to take place. Andrew Berry's not going anywhere. You see this year, he's smartened up by at least 98% just with the talent that he's brought on his team. Next year, though, they'll probably work on the offense. It doesn't seem like our receiving core is living up to its hype. You know, you have guys that are out because of concussions and injuries. All right. Plus, a lot of these guys that are out there, older players. All right. Cedric Tillman has yet to show any type of NFL capabilities whatsoever. I don't know if it's rookie nerves or he's just not cut out for the game. I have no idea. We have no idea what he could do. The one pass that was thrown to him, he half-assed it on the Z route. All right. That's where you go in, you cut back out on an out route to the sideline. He stopped and didn't even really try to make any type of real effort to make the catch. I mean, you can't have that type of play on your team because it becomes infectious. You saw that when the Bears got rid of Chase Claypool out there half-assing it for them, and all of a sudden they rattled off, 3 wins in a row? They started scoring points like crazy. They looked like world beaters until Justin Fields went down. Yeah, one bad apple can spoil your bunch. So we'll see. We'll see. But right now, I'm just worried about this season, and the future looks bright. Can we make it to the Super Bowl or go deep into the playoffs with a quarterback like DTR? We'll see. We'll see how he develops throughout the season as we play a lot of cream puffs. Not that we picked them. The NFL gave us the schedule. The NFL gave us the schedule. We're just playing. We just work here. We're just playing the team set before us. But hopefully he can grow and develop and get more passing downfield in order to back up those defenses and have a more effective offense. It'll never be comparable to our defense. We just don't have the weapons outside of Amari Cooper and David Njoku to do that. But it's enough. It's enough. I can't wait till we play Kansas City with their shaky offensive line. I can't wait till we get our hands on them. I hope we have to play them in the playoffs. That would be great to knock them on their ass and send them packing. Their wide receivers can't catch. They can't catch a cold. Travis Kelce, he's been out. All right. I mean, I'm not worried about it. I look forward to the challenge, and you guys should too. All right. So let's get out of here. You guys be safe, be well, and go Browns.